Here's a short behind the scenes of a couple of elements that I have. This is my spiral tree. I'll show you a close-up of a couple of the strings I have. They are super stringed. Now, with my super string, I have on each super string I have one red, one green string, but then I have on the clear I have two clear strings on each super string. So two clear, one red, one green. I have 8 channels on this tree, and on each channel I have 2 super strings. So 16 strings basically. You see the silver wire that is kind of the support lines that we have. There's 16 of those. See a lot of those. This is at the end of the season. This is January 2nd, so this has been going since mid-November. So unfortunately it sits right under a pine tree and catches a lot of pine needles, and so you can kind of see the buildup after we get the show going. If it's running, I don't touch it. I don't try to pull all the leaves out for fear that I'll knock something. Before we pull up one of the stakes and show you, we've got you see the extension cords that are going around. The cords I'm using are from Dollar General, and they're $1 extension cord. They're 6-foot long extension cords, which I found to be a bargain. And I have a couple that are 12-foot. I just put 2 together. Here are my controllers for it. I have some Unistrut for the stand. This controller's 12 and 13. One thing that I want to point, a couple things I want to point out, I don't hear too often on some of the other videos, is that all the plugs are pointed down. I try to do a good job of making sure all my plugs are pointed down regardless. That helps with some of the water egress and trips and stuff. At least I had no trips on this particular tree. Something else that I do, the light stakes I use, and you can get any of these light stakes. These happen to carry 10 amps a stake. The light stakes I use, these were from Lowe's. They're not surge plugs, but they do have the lights on them, and that's kind of convenient for me to look out the window. I can see which something's tripped or not, because you can't really see if something's tripped unless you're out in the road looking at it. But I can see these lights from just looking out the window. These jars are actually from zip ties. You can kind of see upside down the zip tie picture. These are from Home Depot, and I'm sure Lowe's has them too, but and I think Big Lots as well. But I like the jars because they slip right over, and I just take the plugs and put them, wrap them right on top of them. Now, as you can tell, it's not exactly even. You know, some people get so anal about them being even that it's not exactly even, as you can kind of see as it goes up. It's kind of hard to see because you see the back side of the tree as well. I got them the best I could. You see at the top how it kind of comes down, and it's you know, a little contorted, and that did take a little bit of work to try to get it the best it could, and it did take the better part of a day for me. Some people it's really quick. For me, this was my first one. You see it's a jumbled up mess at the top, and I've never seen one that wasn't a jumbled up mess. What I tied my metal wire to, and I think it's called baling wire, I believe, stainless steel, kind of hard to see possibly in this, but there's a collar that, this is a TV mast, and I took the collar and off and drilled some more holes in it, and you can see where that is kind of tied to that collar. That's where it ties at the top. Now for the light strings, it's hard to see with this. I'll try to interject a picture of a bun foot from Lowe's, and use a flange and a pipe, and just slid that down in the top of that TV mast, and have the little hooks that I screwed into the bun foot. There's 16 of them, See that we have the twist ties as well that they hook onto, and then I have the female end up there at the top. One of the things that you'll see that I try to do is get up all the plugs off of the ground, whether they're an inch off the ground or whatever, but I try not to let them lay on the ground. You're going to see on my other Megatree just the opposite, that they're laying on the ground, unfortunately. But with this one, I was able to get the plugs off the ground, and had no trips for this. I was real surprised that we were able to do that. So, you know, I encourage you, as the season goes on, or even at the first of the season rather, maybe on your bottom rung of lights as it goes around, to try to twist that, tie them up. You see that I've got them kind of tie wrapped or twist tied as we went down. That was a little jack. The twist ties held up. The wire held tight the whole season. I have it down here at the bottom. It's kind of hard to see, but I do have a stake down here at the bottom. Get these stakes at any home improvement store. I believe the stakes are maybe 8 to 12 inches long. Good investment. Use them year after year. They're galvanized, so they're not going to rust. But just kind of have it twisted and have it ran that way, and it's held up really well. Again, we just used a TV mast. Just a couple of sections. Mine's only about 10 feet tall. It's tall enough for me to use the 8-foot ladder that I have. Really not sure I'm going to try to make it any taller, because I see on the web and in the forums people how they wrap them. Of course, if you do a hybrid with the Megatree and then the spiral on top of it, you may get away with a little bit more. But my base is really about an 8-foot base, and that just worked well for me. My star is just made out of Coro, and I have a mixture of the LED and mini lights. Keep the flicker from not happening. You know, the LED, the mini lights rather, help rectify a little bit of that. Kind of hard to see maybe in that picture, but you see how they're kind of shoved in on the back side of that. Something to think about. Might sound stupid, but remember, if you're going to run your Megatree star, do that first. Run that star up first, and then that way you won't get trapped. It's kind of hard to get in this particular spiral tree, unlike a Megatree. So think about running your star up the pole first. Something I forgot to mention that I don't see a lot of people mentioning, and I still, even though this is my 4th year of doing animated stuff, I still consider myself a newbie. Split your circuits out. Don't try to run, you know, possibly, especially with a Megatree or spiral tree, you're running a lot of amps if you're running incandescent, so be sure and try to split those out. What I mean by that is, for instance, again, you know, this is after a season of pine needles and such. Those sticker balls I hate. I need more grass in my yard. That's a spring project. But you can kind of see the red and orange lines. Well, that's coming from these two controllers, and the one controller is not running off of the other. In other words, I have it kind of split. So at any one time, see, for instance, I have from controller 12. Okay, I have one power dongle going in, or one power cord going into one plug here, and then another plug here. So 12 is actually going off both stakes, and then 13, controller 13, its power plug's doing the same. So, and it's split between the two. Now, what does that do? Well, that means that I have these running off of 2 separate circuits. So at any one time, you have the power. If you have all your whites on, that means it's being shared between 2 breakers. That can make a difference, especially depending upon how many lights that you do use, you know, on your Megatree or spiral tree. Just a good way to do it. I split all of my controllers, even my arches and mini trees. We split up those controllers. That way it will share the load between several circuits. The only ones that I do have, a couple that I don't split, these trees, the twig trees, I don't split those, and the only reason why is because I've got a literally 30 amp cord that can handle the load, and I also have a circuit in my carport that can handle that load too. Now here is my mega tree. These tutorials are these, but behind the scenes, there are many on the net that are much better than mine. My sole purpose for doing this, I had a couple of people ask, and that's my sole purpose for putting this video together. The way I did my mega tree, I didn't really have a hole. I didn't want to dig a super duper big hole. I have a small sleeve in there, and it's going down about 1.5 feet down in the ground, so you can kind of see I use a tripod, TV mast tripod, and it worked out real well. I just have some weights down on the back side. You can see where the water, it rained pretty hard last night. Have some 2x12s on mounted on here, and it's only up about 12 feet. Now with mine, for the collar, I thought this was pretty unique. I haven't seen this done, but I took some U-bolts, and on the guide wire collar I did drill some more holes, and then I used some U-bolts, and maybe hard to see in this video, but you can kind of see how I U-bolted that around, and how I have the tie wraps onto the U-bolts. I have the line split in half, so I can go up and down with one string. I have 8 channels of white, 8 channels of red, 8 channels of green, just like on the spiral tree. I also use stakes, the little tree stakes, or the light stakes that you can get dirt cheap. Again, you can see the leaf built up we have here from over the season. I had a piece of plastic, and when I mentioned before how I had plugs laying on the ground, I actually had a piece of plastic laying over all of this, so I didn't have direct water coming in on some of these plugs, and that really helped. So that's why you see some of the bricks and such laying around here. But it held up pretty well. I mean, it's not completely, you can tell that it's a little slack in some of the strings, but seemed to hold up pretty well. The only thing I wish I had done different is I hate the way the star was up so high above the top of the tree. Next year I'll slide that down if I use the same setup. Mentioned before about splitting up the power sources. This particular tree I do not. The only reason why is I have a cord that's capable of taking. I think it can handle 30. I really wouldn't push it past 20. But the only reason why I don't split them is because I do have this such long cable, and it works well to run to another circuit in the back of the house. And so that's the only reason why I don't split this up. We did have a problem with it tripping, but it was because we put too much amperage on it between what was on in the house and what was not on the house. And kind of a homemade boarded up thing we made for our stake for the controllers to hang on to. We just have the extension cords for the dongles for the cord as well. It's easier to, as it's mentioned about the spiral tree, you can't really get inside the spiral tree with this one. I left a little bit of an opening on this. That way I could get the cords in and out, and I could work on the controllers if need be as well. You can kind of see the back of the Coro star that we have up at the top. It's a piece of Coro with it star cut out, and just the as I said, I've got the LED lights and the regular incandescents. I kind of like it. It gives it a little bit of different color, almost goldish color. And then the cool white mini lights. And using those two colors, you can, or using the incandescents with the minis, then you have that flicker issue that won't happen because you've got the incandescents plugged in there, and that kind of adds a little bit more resistance. As some people will put a resistor in line to keep the flicker down. Had some questions about the RGB strips that I use. These are RGB dumb strips. I've tie wrapped them, wire tied them, whatever you want to call it, onto 1/2-inch PVC pipe. Also use some brick ties that I actually are bendable. Use gloves, those things cut, and work real well to hold these up. These have been up since mid-October and have done real well. I have had some issue with a couple of the strip that's down here on the bottom. I have strips on this gutter. I have strips up on the gutter on the roof, as you can see. And I also have strips on the carport gutter. You can see over the season I need to clean out my gutters. Couldn't get to them because of all the Christmas tree in the way. But the strips have worked out real well. I have had what I was saying about the water egress. I believe this is IP65, I think it is. You want to look for IP68. Oddly enough, the egress on the RGB strips on the bottom is where I've had some of this on this gutter and on the carport gutter, but not on the roof. And I think it's just because of the wash off of the two. The reason why I zoomed in is I wanted to show you the coupler. These are, I believe, 16-foot links, maybe shorter, but either way, you're going to want to reinforce it somehow when you go put them up if you have long gutters. I have a coupler here, but I have a split. Took a Dremel tool and put a split in the two, and then that way you can get your wiring in and out. I advise you not to do it in one big long strip. I would cut it up in several different strips. That way they're easier to store. Again, you're going to see some close-up of some of the pine straw and such build up that I've got to go and take care of after we get everything down. But this is on my gutter. You see right here I have one of the 3-channel DMX controllers. Everything else I have running off of a 27-channel DMX controller. See where we have it combined right here as well. Something that that I did that I've never seen anyone else do. You see where we actually have a Y off of each one going up. I'm not too fond of heights, and so I built a something for the dormer windows that on PVC pipe that literally, that little piece up at the top, I take a pipe and shove it into that little pipe, and then these little things just plop up there. And see if we can get a side picture without me falling down here. On the side we have a little pipe that is kind of a standoff as such. Over, I kind of tilted those in. You can see that it's off the, it's off the side of the fascia board, but from the front you can't even tell that, and in the videos you can't tell that as well. So that's worked out really well.